let's get some analysis now. Mikael Valtersson is a military analyst and former officer in the Swedish Armed Forces. Welcome, Mikael. Let's start with this idea of President Zelensky's of a joint venture with European countries, an aerial defence shield. Is that easy to do? Would it be effective?
Well, it depends on how they are thinking about it. But an easy way would be that integrate NATO air defense and Ukrainian air defense in that way that Ukraine regularly informed the NATO countries where drones were flying. Of course, Ukraine gets a lot of information from NATO already, especially airborne radars. But then they could increase the information flow to NATO. A much higher level of integration would be if they really integrated the systems. And, for example, Polish air defense acted in the western part of Ukraine. And this would be some sort of ploy from Zelensky to establish some kind of air denial zone over Ukraine. This is a first step.
Would that not just be circumnavigating the problem of NATO membership, though? I mean, Russia won't allow Ukraine to be a member of NATO, but if Ukraine's working that closely with NATO members, isn't it just fudging a way around it?
Yes, of course. Zelensky and Ukraine are trying to involve at least the European part of NATO as much as possible in Ukraine. And so that would mean that both a risk for escalation, but also that Ukraine in reality became a part of NATO, if not the Euro part of NATO.
Let's talk about the missiles. The US is talking about maybe giving Tomahawks to Ukraine. Does that make a difference?
Yes, of course, Tomahawks with, of course, American information to strike targets would increase the fighting ability of Ukraine a great deal, but it wouldn't, of course, change the entire war. But it would be a great escalation and would be probably a break between Russia and the US because US must understand that this would be seen as an escalation from Moscow. But I believe it might be part of Trump's negotiation tactics. In his book about it, he says that you should surprise the other party. And suddenly he went from the Russian perspective after Alaska to the Ukrainian perspective after the meeting in New York. And now Vance talking about Tomahawks. It might be to put pressure on Russia for continued peace negotiations. And
let's talk about nuclear missiles. The former president, Dmitry Medvedev, again casually dangled the possibility of using nuclear weapons into the conversation. And this has been done many times before. Whilst they have a nuclear deterrent, is there always going to be, it's just a fact, there's going to be a limit to how much support Ukraine can get because no one wants to take the chance?
Yes, of course. That's the trump card of Russia. Nobody wants a nuclear war. And in Europe, people are a bit doubtful how much US wants to support Europe in case of a nuclear exchange. And even if France and Britain has its own weapons, they would probably not take the risk of nuclear annihilation to support Estonia or Poland. So as long as Russia has nuclear weapons and seems likely to be using them if there became a large-scale war, nobody wants to test Russia then.
Mikael, good to speak to you. Thanks for your analysis. Mikael Valtersson is a military analyst and former officer in the Swedish Armed Forces.